Okay, so welcome guys to the Guitar Show. I'm here with an amazing guitar player called Sonia, and Sonia is actually in France at the moment, where that's where she's grown up. We're going to talk all about that, and but I first became aware of Sonia playing with these top sort of musicians in London, and she's kind of quite the guitarist, session guitarist playing in London. So really interested to find out more about her style of guitar, what she does musically. And I really like her style, guys. And I'm going to obviously put in the links and everything. You want to check her style out. It's a really cool style. So we're going to be asking questions about that. So how are you doing, Sonia?
Yeah, I'm really good. Thank you.
And how's life in France at the moment with the lockdown situation?
Well, that's all right. I mean, it could be worse, definitely. It's okay. As long as there is cheese and wine, we can survive, I guess. Yes. But obviously it's not great. It's probably not as bad as England right now, but yeah, I guess it's, not far from it. It's pretty much the same, really. So
great. So let's talk about guitar. What kind of, how would you sort of describe your style? What if you had to tell somebody the style of guitar playing you play, how would you describe it?
I guess there's definitely like an element of jazz in it, because I've been studying jazz, and I used to be a bit obsessed with jazz. Not anymore, because I don't know, just moved into some other styles. But probably mix of jazz with some kind of modern R&B things, probably some pop as well, I guess. It might be like a little element from West African music, but I wouldn't say like that's the main thing in my playing. But in some situations, maybe just, maybe like a little touch, like a little thing in the phrasing with pentatonics and stuff like that. Maybe that is from there, but you know more about that music than I do, probably.
Oh no, I mean, I also became aware of you on Instagram, and you posted some really, guys, check out Sonia's Instagram page, because she's always posting some cool videos. And what I really liked is your style, like you said, is R&B, kind of neo soul. Who are your influences? Is D'Angelo an influence by any chance?
Yeah, definitely. And the guitar player that used to play for him was called Spanky Alford, I think. He's a great player.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, for me, the guy who kind of starting taking the kind of old R&B and soul music into something more what we call now neo soul, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely a big influence, because there's also some more what do you say? Sometimes I just can't speak English. I'm sorry.
No, your English is doing really well. You speak
some players,
English.
Yeah, maybe. But, some more like modern players like Isaiah Sharkey. I don't know if you know that guy.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, I've heard of him. Yeah. Who's the guy from Snarky Puppy? Snarky Puppy.
I don't think it. This guy didn't play for them, but you're probably thinking of Mark Lettieri.
Yeah, he's really big in the kind of guitar community. He's like massive.
Yeah, he's huge. He's huge. Yeah, I actually went to see him. I went to see him at the Jazz Cafe a few months ago. Well, a year and a half ago, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's great. So yeah, those players who are like influenced by gospel music, R&B, and maybe some funk touch as well. I really like those type of players. So, and there's plenty of them now. It's like, I don't know, there's like just so many people playing that style of guitar now. I feel like it's getting a bit trendy, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. So you've got this really interesting career of playing. You know, you're on Instagram playing this really cool neo soul, and in London you're playing these really cool projects, which kind of maybe towards jazz. You know, tell us a little bit how you got into that scene.
Yeah. So basically, what happened is like a long time ago, no, like about 10 years ago now, I was just lucky and I got like a scholarship to come and study to something called Tech Music School, but now it changed to like something else. I don't know. It doesn't exist under that name anymore, but now it's like a really big music school. It used to be a bit smaller when I went there. So that was 10 years ago. And I was quite young, but I kind of realized that the type of music I really like was happening there. And I was like, at some point I should come back. And then I went back to France. I studied and I started playing gigs and, you know, kind of working as a musician. And a few years later, I was like, well, actually about 7 years later, I was like, okay, let's move back to London and see how things are going there and if there's something for me. So basically, I kind of kept that in mind for 7 years. And I was like, yeah, let's do it when I'm ready because, you know, the rent situation and all that in London isn't that easy. So it's like, just, you know, get your skill together and then maybe give it a go because why not? So that's why I did basically. And then once there, so it was probably 3.5 years ago now, I kind of tried to connect with people as much as possible. And I got to meet a guy called Gary Crosby, who is the founder of this, what it's called, organization, I guess, called Tomorrow's Warriors.
Oh, yeah. The guy, Tomorrow's Warriors, if you're in America, are this young group of, you know, up-and-coming jazz musicians. Would that be correct? Is that a correct sort of
description? Yeah, definitely. So basically that through that guy that I actually got in touch with Soweto and I, you know, got to play those jazz gigs and, yeah, kind of with pretty big musicians, really, that are, like, way better than me, but that's how you learn, really.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I mean, and so you know you're in London, and are you now doing any of your own projects? Do you compose any of your own music?
Yeah, I'm actually. Well, lockdown was pretty good for that because, you know, you don't have really much work in terms of gigs and stuff. So I actually took the time to put my music together. That's something I wanted to do for a while, but, you know, it's really hard when it comes to your own things. You always feel like, oh, maybe that's shit. Maybe I shouldn't do it and stuff. So I actually took the time to do it. And I think I'm going to release it in probably March or April. I will see, but it's like, I'm finishing it now, basically. So I was working on it like this morning and yesterday. So it's going to.
What I've seen of your, playing, which I really love, is you've got a very modern edge, you know, which a lot of guitarists really struggle to have to say something new with their instruments. But you seem to have found like a way of sort of amalgamating these different styles and presenting it in a new way, and it's really quite refreshing to hear. So have you got anything, Sonia, like a little tip on guitar? Can you play us a little scale or a little chord or something on your guitar to give my guys a little bit of advice on guitar? So while we've got you here, they'll love a little tip or advice. I love that.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's really like that's actually an advice that I got from like a teacher that I used to study with. It's just like basically playing single note lines and trying to harmonize it as you go without really thinking of a key, if that makes sense. So just kind of experimenting things like, I don't know, if you take a line, just using like triads and... I don't know if that makes sense, like the idea of just...
Amazing. And I think I need some lessons off you.
Yeah, well...
That's really nice. That's really amazing.
It's just like, you know, the idea of working on kind of your ears and also just... I don't know, trying to think of a chord while you're playing a note, and it can be wrong. Like what I did wasn't perfect at all, but it's just like as you go, you just can find other ways that you wouldn't have find if you wouldn't have done this exercise, I guess.
Yeah, and I can kind of see that a lot when you're kind of doing this more the kind of funky. I think you I see you do. I mean, I can't really do it myself, but when you're kind of playing like a D-7, those kind of nice little trills around the chord that you do.
Yeah. I used to just like take one shape really and try to see without moving. Like if you do a bar chord, for example, without having to really move your hand, just seeing like what notes can I reach. I don't have really big hands, so it's not all right.
So do you do like a D-7, kind of like that, and then you can just pick the notes around it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm gonna take like then the next shape, for example, like a D minor over here, and see like, okay, just take the notes from the pentatonic and, you know, from the chord really, the arpeggios, and see what I can reach without having to move my finger, so I can keep the resonance of the other strings, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and you've got a great sort of groove as well. Is there any sort of tips you can give us on improving your groove? Do you practice with a metronome, or how do you practice rhythm?
So yeah, I used to practice with a metronome quite a lot, but then lately I've been doing something else a bit more fun. It's just like I take a drum loop, like, you know, anything you find on YouTube or whatever, and I just like I steal it from YouTube basically, and I just import it like on you know, anything like Logic or Ableton or something. And then I just make a loop with like, let's say 4 bars of the drum loop, then 1 bar empty, or 2 bars if you want to go crazy, or 2 beats or whatever. And then you get back to the groove. So you actually play with the groove, like the drum part. And then you go gap. So you have to keep the groove without having any, you know, any reference, anything playing. And I find it kind of funny. Yeah. And it's a good way to, you know, work on being really, how do you say, really consistent.
Could you just kind of demonstrate that now for us? Could you, sorry to put you on the spot, but could you just demonstrate that kind of?
Well, I don't like have a drum loop over here, no, but
yeah.
Oh, just playing like a groove thing.
Like a groove, yeah.
Yeah. Guitar is not in tune.
Amazing, though. I can really hear that kind of neo soul sort of style.
Yeah, I guess that's probably because of my the choices I make with the shape. Really, I always put like 11s, 7s, you know, those type of chords that are gonna some definitely. Yeah, that's my major chord, by the way. I just use it all the time as like.
Oh, so you know, you got like a normal major. So if I was playing an E major, do you take the 3rd like that?
No, I actually play like so. Let's say you take a minor 7 chord.
Yeah.
And instead of having the 5th here, you just put the minor 6 instead.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I like this. Yeah.
Thank you. You're welcome. I've got a free guitar lesson here, guys. So this is really cool.
It's not for free. I'm gonna charge you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, fair enough. Hey, so let's just let's get back to a little bit, because a lot of the people on this YouTube channel, on the guitar show, they love talking about gear.
Yeah.
So how do you kind of like? What's your philosophy on gear? Is it something you really care about, or is it just like a tool for you? You're just like, I only need 2 guitars. That's all I need. Or do you like to collect guitars and pedals? And what is your whole ethos on that?
Okay, so I used to really not care at all about gear. Like I used to really, really not care. so I used to just have one guitar, and I was obsessed with jazz. So if you play like kind of old school jazz, you're not really going to use any pedals and stuff. You go straight to the amp, and maybe like a compression, but not much. But then when I started like gigging and playing for pop artists or R&B artists and stuff, I realized that it was actually really important to work on your sound and to have the sound that will match with what the artist is looking for. So then I got a bit more into it, and I guess as everyone, I started like ordering lots of pedals from Thomann and companies like that. When you can actually send them back within 30 days or something like that. So you can basically try them out and then see if that's suitable or not. So I did that a bit, to kind of research things and understand things about pedals. And yeah, I did that for the last couple of years, maybe, just to, find out what was right for me. And I ended up getting a Stomp box, HX Stomp from Line 6.
Right.
Which is now what I use all the time. And I'm like, okay, I probably need only that with like an expression pedal. And
so that's like a multi-effects floor pedal, is it?
Yeah. But you got everything you need, or at least everything I need. So I feel like, because there's two sides of it, it's like you can research the best pedal and make the best sound ever and stuff. But then if you're gigging and you're in London, you're going to have to carry your pedal board around in the tube and all that, that. So it's like...
Tell me about it. Yeah.
So I just couldn't be bothered, and I'm just not strong enough to carry like one or two guitars plus maybe an amp plus a pedal board. I couldn't make it. So I was like, okay, I need to find another way, basically.
Amazing.
And sorry.
No, that's an amazing sort of idea to have, is that, a lot of us are buying 20 pedals and really not concentrating on playing the guitar. So I think what I can get from you is that, pedals aren't important. It's just, keep it simple, keep it small, and, have the focus on the instrument rather than the gear.
Yeah. That's pretty much what I do. And I always been more passionate about like actually working things around the neck and just, finding chords and stuff than playing with pedals. I can understand that some people are really passionate about it and they get really good at it, but I don't really think it's my thing, and I don't think it will be one day. So.
And what guitar do you, because I often see on your Instagram, you're playing this really cool kind of, is it a Telecaster? It's a kind of Telecaster. Is it a Reverend?
Yeah, that's what it is, yeah.
And do you have it with you here? Do you have it with you?
No, I don't have it here, sorry.
And what is it? Is it basically a Telecaster? Is it, what model?
That's basically, it sounds a bit like a Tele, but it's more, I don't know, this brand is just, it's a quite small brand based in America, but they do just their own thing, really, and they got those weird shape and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's quite versatile, really. It's not like it sounds like a Telecaster or like a Strat or something. It's just, that's their own thing, and it's quite cheap for the quality you get, which is important for me because I don't like spending too much money, But
and what amp do you have? You have any preferences? Do you prefer a tube amplifier, or do you like a solid state amplifier? What do you prefer?
Yeah, I like tube amplifier. I got like a Supro, a small one. It's called Blues King, I think.
Right.
It's pretty good, and I really like Supro amps in general. But again, they're quite big and heavy, so it's okay if you play. If you play home, that's fine. But if you have to carry it around, it's just a nightmare. So.
And in London, sometimes we can rent amps, can't we? Or there's an amp at the gig. So in that case, I guess you just take your pedal board and guitar, yeah? Yeah,
that's what I do, yeah. Anytime I can do that, I choose to do it because, it's just like, just easier, really.
And Sonia, just to finish up, because it's been really amazing having you on the guitar show, who were your main influences? And is there any new guitar players that you're getting into at the moment? But who were you, going back to when you were young, who were your kind of influences on guitar?
Yeah, I guess I used to listen to kind of rock and hard rock when I started like playing electric guitar. So I really liked Angus Young. I still think he's a great guitar player. But then I moved to more, groovy soul music quite quickly. So yeah, all those jazz guitar players from back in the days, really, as well as, I don't even know the names, but the guitar players that have been playing for James Brown and those, those type of groovy in the pocket player, really like that. And more recently, I've discovered a guy actually based in London. It's called, give me a second, Ashton Sellers. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. I think he's from New Zealand, and he's really like tasteful, kind of R&B, neo soul guitar player. I think he comes from jazz as well, and yeah, it's really something. Yeah, he's really someone to keep an eye on.
Yeah. So, any other influences outside guitar players? Any bands you like, or no?
Yeah. To be honest, I really like some big mainstream stuff. Like, I don't know, I really like Beyonce, for example. It's not something that I'm gonna listen every day, but in another side, I also listen to really niche stuff. Like, you probably know about it. Like in West Africa, like in Mali, there is the hunter music.
Yeah.
So sometimes I just listen to some old tape cassette of that type of music.
Playing these instruments.
Yeah. So it's really, it's really large. It's like from really big pop acts to really niche stuff. It's really, really large, really.
Amazing. And Angus Young as well.
Yeah, as well.
Okay, well, Sonia, it's been amazing to have you on the show. Thanks a million, and hopefully you'll come back again when lockdown's over, and then we can really, hear your playing, and because I think there's a lot of stuff we can learn from your playing style. It's amazing. So thanks a million.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, take care. See you.
Thank you too. Bye.